What's up, you guys? This is Warframe Guy Plays, and today on the Daily Grind, we are ringing in the new year with 7 Warframe Superlatives. Now, for those of you guys who have absolutely no clue what Superlatives are, I want you to think back to your high school yearbook. Think along the lines of best smile, nicest hair, most likely to succeed, most likely to have an STD. I only qualified for one of those, and I really want you to think hard about which one it could potentially be. Regardless, I wanted to go ahead and bring that into the Warframe world. However, I didn't want to be as boring as, like, you know, best Warframe, most damage output, most improved. Those kind of things are, you know, left to maybe other Warframe YouTubers. I thought I would go ahead and put my own individual twist on it, so do me a huge favor. I want you to go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below and follow along with me. Let me know exactly how you're feeling about each of these individual categories. Alright, so let's see if we line up anywhere specific. So jumping right in, our first category is the Warframe that you changed your mind about this year. And I'm gonna be honest with you, there's a lot of interpretation that is left up for this. It could be a Warframe that you began the year out and said, this is my favorite Warframe. And then it slowly kind of dwindled down and you're like, I've actually found better. Or, in my case, it could be the complete opposite. A Warframe that you were like, ugh, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, and then slowly but surely they crept into your rotation, and I was like, God damn it, what are you doing in here, Ember, and why am I using you so much? But that's exactly what happened this year. I definitely changed my mind about Ember, and I think that maybe it had to do with a little bit of the way that she was perceived. She's kind of perceived as this, like, low to mid, and even, like, kind of mid to high range Warframe. You know, you could get pretty much most of the star chart done and just run through things brainlessly, and I was like, I'm not a brainless player. No, I don't need to brute force my way through. I'm clever, I'm smart, I understand mechanics. But sometimes you just don't want to have to, like, think about mechanics. Sometimes you don't want to have to play the goddamn heroes of the game. Sometimes you just want an Ember where you turn on World on Fire and you just rush through shit. And trust me, the project that I was working on a little bit earlier, I was like, how can I make this faster? And good old Ember, I was like, let me go ahead and load her up and start, you know, doing what I gotta do. And I was like, God damn it. Before, at the very beginning of this year, Ember was just not a frame that I touched whatsoever. Then, you know, I went ahead and played with her a little bit. Then I started using her for focus farming. And now I'm kind of like turning to her to anything that I'm just kind of like need to blaze through for a little bit. See the puns there coming through. But Ember was definitely a Warframe that I changed my mind about this year. And it also kind of made me change my mind about the perception of that kind of player base. Sometimes you just want to get the job done, and sometimes you don't really want to think about it. You know, you just want to be able to barrel through, and it just makes things a bit easier. Ember is also a fantastic frame for streaming. I'm going to put that out there, because there is another category that I actually wanted to save for a podcast that I'm going to end up doing. But Ember is a fantastic streaming frame. You can just turn Ember on, and you can just stream and have any kind of conversation. Regardless, let's go ahead and move into our next category. Ooh, so at number 2 is one that I don't necessarily want to go over, but I wrote it down, I made it a category, and if y'all will do it along with me, I won't feel so bad. But number 2 is legitimately a Warframe you only play because you think they look cool. I'm very guilty of this. I got drawn in by all of the beauteous, wonderful metallics that came and just blinded me with their light. But legitimately, this year, Mirage Prime came through with all of the aesthetic glory, and I was like, I gotta play that. I gotta play that. And I've been playing her non-stop recently, and here's the thing, don't get me wrong, I like her blinds, I like the new thing that they did with Sleight of Hand, I'm a fan of Explosive Ledger Main, I like it, but I'm not, like, in love with it. And I'll be honest with you, as you guys know, like, I'm a Loki main, but I don't always get to play Loki all that much. So sometimes I'm playing, like, Mirage, and I'm like, you know, I could be playing Loki right now. I could be playing Oberon right now. Why am I playing you again? Oh yeah, that's because you're my little Warframe Barbie doll, and you're sparkly and you're pretty, and you just all got the silkiness, and you got the head down booty up animation, and I'm just like, oh girl, I am feeling you so much aesthetically right now. Like, you look good. And to be honest with you, like, while her kit is fun-ish. I'm not saying that it's not fun. In my head, I'm like, I literally could be playing almost any other Warframe out there and having just as much, if not more fun, but really I picked you because you're pretty. So there's my confession. Make sure you don't leave me hanging on this one. Now, I thought that number 2 was gonna be the Warframe that threw me under the bus, but really, number 3 is the Warframe where I lose subscribers, okay? Let's be completely honest with you. Number 3 is the Warframe that you just can't stand hearing about. Oh, I feel like I'm about to have a little Rob Rants moment here, because legitimately, if I hear another fucking thing about Chroma, I'm gonna have a moment, okay? Now, for me, Chroma, like, mechanically is an interesting Warframe. He gets the job done. He's got a lot of brute force in him, super tanky, deals a ton of damage. But at the end of the day, if you're looking at mechanics, he's just like the Warframe that is made for, like, unskilled people. I'm sorry. I said it. I put it out in the universe. It had to be said. But legitimately, Chroma is the one Warframe where you're like, yeah, hit me. I want to be hit. Cover? No, don't worry about cover. Just hit me. I literally want to be hit, and then I'm gonna hit you back harder. What kind of reward is that? It's like your child is behaving badly, and you're like, in order to prevent you from behaving badly, I'm gonna give you a cookie. Okay? You're rewarding him for bad behavior. It's like, hey, listen. Hey, he's getting hit. You're not supposed to be trying to get hit. That's not the way the Warframe. You want to avoid damage. But instead with Chroma, you're like, no, just hit me. Just hit me, and then I'm gonna hit you back harder. And some people think that that takes skill. And so you hear all of these people, oh my god, look at how much damage I'm doing with. Bitch, you stood there and you got shot at. And now you're shooting even harder. And let me tell you, there are some people in my Discord that have been doing calculations, and apparently the way that the damage bonus is applied to Chroma is a little bit different from some other frames and is not applying appropriately. So I'm just saying, if they fix that, I wouldn't be mad. I'm putting that out there into the universe. But legitimately, I like hear about it, and then the fucking icing on the top of the goddamn cake, putting this out, is people are like, Chroma needs a rework. Don't you think he needs to be buffed? I'm like, bitch, please. He is bad play. He is bad play incarnate. Like, let your ass get hit and you get rewarded and you get to do more damage for it? What do you mean he needs a buff? Get out of here. Get out of here with that whole we need to buff Chroma conversation. Goodbye. Goodbye. And you know what else? Hold on. Come back. Come back. I'm not done with you yet. Okay? Snatch your weaves off. But legitimately, and here's where some of the worst builds are. He's like, I'm just going to dump in all of the power strength, and I'm not even going to put in any efficiency. I can use pads for efficiency. And then everybody starts complaining about nullifiers stripping fucking Chroma's bust. Well, guess what? If you build for efficiency instead of dumping on all that goddamn blind rage and shit, you wouldn't be so worried about those goddamn nullifiers. Fix your shit. Whew. Okay, now that I have cooled down a little bit, let's go ahead and move on to number 4. The Warframe you think everybody is a little bit too hard on. You know, it's one of those like, leave Brittany alone moments. Leave Brittany alone. It's kind of one of those things. And kind of like when I was talking about Ember a little bit earlier, I don't know if it was just me maybe a bit earlier this year where I had this mentality of endgame, 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 be the roughest, be the toughest, take on Mott, you know, be the strongest. And I was like, you know, I had a little bit of that and I didn't really appreciate the star chart as much. And I think that maybe PoE did a little bit more equalization on that and said, you know, you don't necessarily need to be fighting level 100 enemies to be worth it. And so this next Warframe kind of fits in along those lines. And I could just feel it right now. I could feel people rolling their eyes as I speak this out loud, but y'all just gotta be nicer to Atlas. Alright, I get it. Atlas is in the top of the charts. I'm not a fan of his tectonics. I'm not a fan of his petrify. But you know, Landslide is damn good. And you know, he make those rock babies. And those rock babies are fine. And stop teasing him about his neck. It's not that he has no neck, alright? Y'all don't understand because maybe y'all don't have muscle yourself. But it's not that he has no neck. It's that he has too much neck. His traps his traps are just so large that the neck muscle like comes in from under his ear and like comes straight down to his shoulder. So it looks like he's got no neck, but really he's just got a really like mountainous neck. That's how that works. And in addition to that, he's also got some amazing skins this year. He got one from Stench Fury, which is the monolith skin that I'm absolutely in love with. That's got metallic, so he's looking all shiny, shimmery, splendid, all that kind of stuff. And of course, we have the rough and tumble Grack skin from Faven_PS, where he has the paint smears coming down his face, and he looks so cool. He looks so cool. He just has a lot of neck, okay? That's all it is. And if you have never ever tried it, this is something that I really encourage that everybody goes out and does. Take your Venka Prime, put it on your Atlas, build up a little bit of a melee combo counter, maybe even toss Naramon on there so that the combo counter degrades a little bit slower. But because of the fact that the Venka Prime have that custom combo multiplier that goes up by 0.75 instead of 0.5, you can build that combo counter up real fast, and that combo counter actually applies to Landslide. Now, Landslide doesn't increase the combo counter on its own. It just takes the damage multiplier from that and applies it to the damage that it does to enemies. And it's just like, oh, you see these crazy numbers. And as you're sliding, you're also invincible. And if you have Path of Statues on too, you're making all of these little trails that freeze up enemies. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Just be nice to Atlas. He's not perfect. You know, there are a lot of Warframes out there that aren't perfect, but he's fun to use. You should give him a shot. Alright, so for these last few, we're actually going to be departing from the world of Warframe itself and moving on to the much larger universe outside of it. So at number 5, I'm very curious to know what NPC you would like to see DE spotlight more in the next year. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, this one was a bit rough for me, because while I do really like Quill Onko a lot, well, I don't really like him a lot, but I'm curious to see what else there is for Quill Onko. One of the things that I would really like explored more is I would like to see something from the Corpus, anything from the Corpus. We get so much Grineer, and DE has kind of teased that Venus would be their next landscape and that it would most likely be Corpus themed. At least I'm under the impression that it is. But legitimately, I would like to know more about, you know, the kind of structure of their society, their business, their government. I don't even know what to call it. And legitimately, maybe that's the big issue, is because of the fact that I can't even grasp exactly what's going on over there. Is it just all trade? Is the government governed by trade? Is there a government, or is it just a bunch of corporations that just kind of like fight each other for power? That's really the, I guess you would say, the NPC, or maybe the group of NPCs that I would like to know more about. I know there's Sentience. I know there's you know who that we just recently saw. By the way, there's gonna be spoilers coming up soon, so if y'all haven't done the thing in the quarters of the ship, you can tune out after this question. But legitimately, like, that's kind of it for me. There's so many other things that are going on that do seem very interesting, but there's one core chunk of the world that I feel is missing, and that honestly is like, what the fuck is going on with the Corpus? Like, we haven't gotten a new Corpus, a human Corpus boss recently. We've got a lot of robots, and it's like, oh cool, so the Corpus make machinery and all of that kind of stuff, and legitimately for me, I'm like, it's just a bunch of robots. That's what I'm supposed to care about? Like, give me some background. Make me either really love them or really loathe them, because all I have to really go off of is, you know, the crazy pants of Nefanyo. And I'm like, is he a good representation of all Corpus? I don't know, but that is definitely something that I would like to see spotlit more in the upcoming year. So remember when I said that there were going to be spoilers? This is that moment, so if you don't want to be spoiled on anything, I highly suggest that you stop here, maybe skip to the end of the video. I don't know, because if you on console and you don't want anything spoiled for you, or maybe you haven't been home for the holidays and you know that there's a quest that has to be done, I ain't gonna spoil it for you. Well, I will, but I'm telling you right now that spoilers are coming, so pay attention to that, because at number 6, this is the moment where I pause and I hope that you turn off the video if you don't want spoilers. I want to know, what NPC would you be completely fine with replacing the Lotus? As you guys know, in the most recent quest, the Apostasy Prologue, legitimately, like, Lotus was just like, peace the fuck out, like, bye! And I'm like, you know what? girl, go ahead and get your shit done. We have been bad children. Well, not me. But there have been some bad children in this community that I'm sure you got to deal with on a daily basis, and you just feel like peacing out and getting you some of that big-handed man, if you know what I'm talking about. So I'm curious for everybody, exactly who would you want to fill her shoes? And my answer would probably be, oh, you know who my answer would be? I cannot actually remember her name, and I feel really, really bad, but it's Kanzu's main squeeze. You know, the chick that, like, totally cucked Anko. That girl. That one, she has some of the best lines. If you ever just sit idle and see this, stand close to her, and pay attention to the shit she says. One of the things she says is something about, like, having kids, and that kids are a reminder of your mortality, that they remind you that you're gonna die, and that they're there to replace you and to take your pants. It's really weird, but I could definitely sit there and listen to more of the craziness. Plus, she seems to have like a good sense of how things work in her head. If you ever hear like the talk between her and Kanzu, it's like she's got the brains, he's got the muscle. I'm like, girl, we need you on our team. I would also like to see more of Fisher High Look. That girl, you know, she's taking care of the family. She was like, you know, that fish is big, and it's big enough for the cousins too. I'm like, okay, you're trying to take care of me and the cousins. All right, I see how you are. She's trying to work all them angles, so I'm a really big fan of those two. But I think that the person that I would want to take over the most, and you guys have heard me already say this, y'all have heard me already say this, but if you haven't, go play the Index. And if you're playing the Index, you will hear Cephalon Stark. And he is legitimately like my favorite Cephalon of all Cephalons. If, you know, listen, I don't mind Ortis. I know that everybody wants to throw Ortis under the bus, and everybody wants to read Ortis and say, oh my god, you're so annoying. Legitimately, I love Ortis. I'm fine with Ortis. However, I would wave bye to Ortis and say, please, Cephalon Stark, join me on my ship. Be my Cephalon. How do I recruit you? Because I need you in here, and I would not mind having him as a replacement for Miss Lotus. I mean, she'll come back, right? I mean, eventually? Maybe? Alright, so our final one tonight actually transcends the world of Warframe itself and seeps into our real lives. At number 7, what is your favorite non-Plains of Eidolon moment of the year? Legitimately, because I damn well thought about this. I was like, you know, it'd be nice to kind of like have a favorite moments of the year thing. And then I realized that I think everybody in general's favorite moment was the Plains of Eidolon reveal, or at least it's up there. A lot of people felt strongly about this, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I was sitting there in that audience at TennoCon, and you know, usually the partners kind of have some sort of idea of what's going on. We kind of get, you know, they're like, oh, there's this, there's that, or the other, and we were just like out in the dark. We didn't know what was going on, so I'm like sitting there next to him, I'm like, bitch, what is this? What is going on here? And I think that a lot of people, maybe even the people at home, the people at TennoCon, we're all like, what is this? Like, what are you launching for us? And then, you know, as soon as the big gates open, we're like, what? And I think that everybody had that same visceral moment. So it's a little bit of a cheat to go ahead and add that in. I wanted to see, aside from that, exactly what was the moment that absolutely rocked your world this year. And if I'm gonna be honest, one of the things that really rocked my world, it's not the number one thing, I'm slipping this in here, but that goddamn moment when Mirage Prime trailers dropped and she did the head down booty up, I was like, the world stopped. I know we talked about Mirage a little bit earlier, and in that moment, I became a Mirage fangirl. I was like, not even a Mirage fanboy. I mean, like a Mirage, like a K-pop fangirl. Like, holy shit! Did you see that? Pause and rewind, head down, booty up, head down. And I was like, I lost my shit, and I don't know why. It was such a simple motion, but as soon as she went, and all of her little doppelgangers here, I was like, Y'all, you did too much to my heart. But there was one moment that outshone that moment. And it also happened at TennoCon. And I think you guys, I think that everybody collectively who watched this, who was a part of this, remembers it. Because it was the one part in time that I believe all Warframe players felt collectively the same. We felt like we were bonded together and united as one when that one dude on the TennoCon stage proposed to that woman. And it was beautiful and wonderful, and we were rooting for him. We were cheering for him. We were like, yes, yes. And then he said, Nerf Trinity. And we all stopped. And in that moment, we were like, get him off the stage. Get out. Get off. We don't want you here. Legitimately, I think that it was one of those few moments that we were all on the same page. Because so much of the time, I even see it in our own comment section, you know, there's a lot of people who will clash. There's, you know, there's definitely opposing ideals going on. You know, me and Reddit aren't friends, but I think that maybe in that one moment, me and Reddit could have been cool. And we could have both looked at each other and been like, this dumbass, right? This dumbass, right? And no harm to him. I'm sure maybe it was just stage fright, or maybe, I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he was just like drunk in love and he just said the first thing that came to his mind. But legitimately, everybody had to look at each other in the, because we had to check if what our ears were telling us was correct. Because we felt so betrayed. It was like the top 10 anime betrayals. We were just like, but we really liked you. And now we gotta throw you in some alley somewhere. Why are you doing this to us? And I think that moment, even though it was very cringy, even though, you know, and it's just a joke, we're not gonna throw anybody in an alley. But really though, it was, I think, the one moment that bonded us together as a community, and we're like, yeah, this guy's gotta go. We're done with this. So that about does it for me. I want you guys to let me know your feelings on all of these categories. I'll actually go ahead and link them in the description box so that you guys can copy and paste them if you feel like copy and pasting them and being a part of the conversation. Regardless, I want to thank each and every one of you for making this year absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for being a part of it. This has been a massive year for the channel. There are so many things that are going on behind the scenes. There are so many things that are just this. Okay, so y'all, even all of the political bullshit that happened earlier this year, and all Rob just living off of ramen for a little bit, this year turned out fantastic. And I want to thank you guys so much for that, so much for being a part of the ride. Maybe I'll show you a little bit of the behind the scenes to show you how things have improved here in the studios that is Rob. And if you notice, we got a tree. We got a tree, y'all. It's up again. Y'all might see this a little bit more often. Regardless, I'm gonna leave you guys right there. Have an amazing and safe New Year's. Take care of yourselves, but don't forget to have a little bit of fun at the same time. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body, but do it responsibly. I'll see you guys in next year. Bye-bye.